This is the Jerry Callahan Show.
All right, it is on. Here we go. This is better than the Olympics. This is better than the Ryder Cup. Democrats are gathering in Chicago as we speak. Their base is already there. That would be 270 groups who got permits and they can protest. Then you get the groups that don't even bother with protests. Antifa, they don't need permits. Black Lives Matter, climate crazies, the pro-Hamas crowd, they don't need permits. They're just there to raise hell. And tonight, the DNC, the convention, commences. On day one, they're going to let Joe Biden speak his first, and he'll be on the first night, and it will be his last night, essentially, as the leader of the Democrat Party. You will see an outpouring of phoniness like you've never seen before. He will be in a packed arena, and they will all be cheering, and they'll be saying, "Thank you, Joe. We love Joe." A month after they booted his ass out the door, they overthrew him. And the person who led the coup was Kamala Harris. She'll be speaking Thursday, and that'll be even phonier. But I can't wait to see the mayhem. Here's a quick preview for you. The party that is against walls has set up a wall around the convention center. The party that's against voter ID, which is racist, of course, is requiring an ID to show up and enter the convention hall. The Party of Joy is offering free abortions and free vasectomies outside the hall. Yes, you can go there, hear some speeches, meet some people, get an abortion or get a vasectomy. I'm all for the second one, by the way. I think they should all get vasectomies, all these protesters. And the party that wanted to defund the police has more cops protecting them right now in Chicago than you've ever seen. It is just breathtaking. There are thousands and thousands of Chicago police officers. No vacation, no days off for those guys. They're there to protect the Democrats from their base, from their supporters, from Harris voters who are pissed off that she won't wholeheartedly support Hamas against Israel. These are anti-Semites. They're leading the charge. They're also anarchists and climate crazies, and they are ready to explode. In fact, it has already begun. Yes, they're already on the ground. They're marching, they're screaming, they're ranting, they're harassing cops. Do we have that guy, Ironhead, who says, "Piggy, piggy, go home"? It's funny that the Republicans held a convention a month ago. I don't remember any boarded up buildings. I don't remember any walls. I don't remember anybody saying, "Piggy, piggy, go home" in Milwaukee a month ago when the Republicans gathered. Tells you all you need to know. If you own a business in downtown Chicago right now, you're boarding up your windows. You're closing, even though hundreds of thousands of people are in town for this event. We got the protester. Grown man. Piggy, piggy, go home. That's a grown man saying that to a cop who's just there doing his job. Look at these poor cops sitting there going, well, they probably want to just arrest him, rough him up a little, but they can't because there are cameras everywhere. This is before the convention has even begun. It is going to be fascinating to see how the mainstream media covers this, CNN and MSNBC. Clearly, they're on board with the Harris Walls campaign. They want to project an image of joy and optimism and excitement, and they will do their best. While outside, their supporters, the base of the Democrat Party, is ready to burn the building to the ground. It's going to get crazy because these people, they don't want to just go there and march. They don't want to just chant. It's going to be a contest. Which group can get violent? Which group is going to get really cross the line here? How many arrests are they going to have in Chicago? How many shootings will be happening, down the street while these Democrats and their media allies are gathering to celebrate the joy of the Kamala Harris campaign. And what's it going to be like tonight when Joe Biden takes the stage and stumbles through, I don't know, a 20-minute speech and endorses Kamala Harris a month after she shivved him in the back and forced him off the ticket? And how are they? I mean, how are their friends in the media going to cover that? I know everything about this campaign. This Harris-Walz campaign is fake and phony and contrived. But man, you really have to work hard to convince people that what Biden's going to say tonight is sincere and honest. Of course, it's Joe Biden, so it'll be an endless string of lies and gaffes and blunders. But he's going to endorse Kamala and Walz, and we know he hates her. He doesn't hate her as much as he hates Nancy Pelosi or Barack Obama right now, but he hates her. What she did to him after he picked her as his VP, knowing she's completely incompetent, knowing she is a dummy, he picked her, and then she shoved him aside and was anointed the nominee. Yes, here she is, just to get you ready for a week of propaganda and gaslighting and just off the charts phoniness. These are the two phoniest, fakest, most contrived candidates ever. Tim Walz is a total fraud. I'll return to my prediction. We don't know everything there is to know about Tim Walz yet. I mean, we know he's a crazy radical with an infatuation with China. He's been there 30 times. When he goes there, he buys the little red book and passes it out to his students. He is a true believer in the CCP. He's not just a tourist. I mean, he's a foot soldier for the Chinese Communist Party. We know that. We also know he put tampons in boys' rooms. He made his state a sanctuary state for confused kids who want to change their sex. He wants to take them from their parents. That's absolutely true. We know he shut down the city during COVID. We know he put a grandmother in jail for trying to open his business. We know he ordered the cops to shoot people with paintball guns who were sitting on their porches during COVID. And of course, we know he allowed BLM to burn the city down. This is the worst candidate for vice president in American history. This guy is the worst, the absolute worst. And we are just now finding out what a scoundrel he is and what a coward he is. We know he abandoned his troops just before they went to Iraq, and we know he lied about his rank for years. And now we have him out there pretending to be joyous. Here's Kamala and Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman, and Tim Walz stopping at a Sheetz convenience store in Pennsylvania. Now, we remember, the Sheetz, when she went there before, nobody was there. Trump went there, place was packed. Here's another thing to keep in mind. The Biden-Harris administration is suing Sheetz, the store, for not hiring felons, for in their hiring process, when they hire people at the store, they consider their criminal record. For that, Biden-Harris are suing Sheetz, but that didn't stop her from stopping into this store. And when they get to the store, they're confused. They're looking for Doritos. Now, have you ever been at a convenience store and not found Doritos? This is not an obscure item, but she pretends to love Doritos. And she goes in the store very excited because she wants Doritos, and she doesn't find them right away. Doug has to help her. Dougie has to help her find Doritos. Look at this. Is just this is just so silly. God bless it.
Oh, Dougie, there they are. Thank you.
Oh, we found some. Oh, we found 2 bags of Doritos. Yay! They're always so hard to find Doritos in a convenience store. What a total fraud. That I'm telling you, I understand. Again, that some people have a problem with Trump. I understand. Nobody thinks this is a good candidate. Nobody thinks she's smart. Nobody thinks she's real. Nobody thinks she earned this nomination. We all know what we're seeing right now is the greatest propaganda campaign in history. The media, the Democrats, are lying to us. They're pretending it's all make-believe. Everything they do and say is make-believe. All right, we're going to get to the price controls thing, because this was just an amazing moment in this campaign. She's been hiding for a month. We know that. She's done no interviews. She's held no press conferences. She's essentially answered no questions and offered no policies. As we mentioned on her website, there were literally no policies. That's unheard of for a candidate. So she comes out Friday, that would be 3 days ago, with her big idea. And it is so mind-numbingly stupid. It's hard to believe that anybody in her circle, any advisor, any of the people who helped her overthrow Biden thought this was a good idea. Even if you believed in this insanity of price controls, why would you say, let's get out there and offer it as a real policy that when you take office, day one, the woman's been in office for 1,300 days, and she wants you to think on day one, she's going to offer these bold proposals, which is just, but why would you come up with this? We're going to control the price of groceries. The federal government is going to mandate the price of groceries. Everyone, and I'm telling you, if you haven't paid attention, everyone, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, they were all skeptical. They can't fake this one. They can't pretend this is a good idea. They honestly said, this is insanity for a presidential candidate who, by the way, is leading in some of the polls. It's close in others. It's tight on the battleground states. But her first real proposal is flat out communist, has failed everywhere it has been tried, and is a non-starter to every honest economist. And it makes you wonder, is it real? Like, does she really believe this is a solution to inflation? And don't forget, there's one person more responsible for inflation than anyone in America, and that's Kamala Harris. She cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Production Act, which spent $2 trillion. She wanted to make it $4 trillion, and it caused inflation, just like every other ridiculous spending bill signed by Joe Biden. They're the reason prices went up. They're the reason that everything is unaffordable. And their answer to this, their solution to this, is let's have the federal government set the prices of eggs and bacon and bread and gas and everything else. It's bizarre. It truly is. I mean, I know she's full of it. I know nothing is real. Nothing is honest. But why? I honestly can't come up with an answer. Why you would propose this as your first big idea, knowing it has failed everywhere it has tried. And she couldn't even get it right, by the way. Her one big line, to stop price gouging. And she's reading the teleprompter and she says, price gauging. I know that's not important, but she couldn't even read this ridiculous idea off a teleprompter. That's your Democrat candidate. That's the one who's going to be celebrated this week in Chicago. Let's watch her proposal and the reaction from an economist on CNN and a few other economists who really, they can't believe what they're hearing. Play it.
I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food.
We've seen this kind of thing tried in lots of other countries before: Venezuela, Argentina, the Soviet Union, etc. It leads to shortages. It leads to black markets.
Essentially, what we're talking about is gargantuan big government that controls everything. What we're talking about is a war on capitalism.
It's not going to be markets. It's not going to be supply and demand that's determining how much your grocery store charges you for milk or for eggs. It's going to be some bureaucrat in D.C., which seems like totally unworkable.
It's all always about control. They want to control. They want to be able to pick winners and losers and also be able to punish those losers.
That is incredible. Here's some of the reaction. Washington Post called it a gimmick. The Atlantic magazine, these are far left outlets, called it economically dumb. They had to be honest and say this is madness. It's madness. Price gouging. No one can explain what that is. And no one can explain why they only do it under Democrat presidents. Weren't they price gouging 4 years ago? Did the stores, the corporations just decide 4 years ago when Harris got elected, let's start price gouging, price gauging? Can you throw that chart up there? Because this is important. Here's what people need to understand. Grocery stores don't mark up their products. They don't price gouge. They have the smallest profit margin of any industry. Here's an interesting chart. The total market profit margin, that would be all goods and services, is 8.5%. All industries, excluding financial industries, 7.6%. Grocery stores, 1.2%. That's right. Their profit margin is 1.2%. And this bubblehead of a nominee says she's going to bring down the price by controlling it from Washington, controlling the price. And everybody knows what happens then. You have shortages because you're not going to sell things if they can't make any money off them. And then that goes up the line to the distributors. If they can't make any money, they're going to stop producing these products and selling them. And it's not hard to grasp. I mean, you could hear an economic policy that would be complicated, that would be hard for a layman to grasp. This is really easy for you to understand. The grocery stores make their money in bulk. They sell so much, and 1.2% markup leads to profit. And you have supply and you have demand. That's how it works. And this idiot thinks even if it were somebody smart, you'd say this is madness. And everywhere it's tried, Venezuela, Soviet Union, it fails miserably. It leads to bread lines. And as far as I can tell, the only prominent politician who is supporting her proposal is Bernie Sanders. Yes, this is Bernie Sanders. This is straight up communism, which is why we have now coined a new phrase, communism. Kamala, get it? Kamala, communism. And Trump and Vance are going all in on this, saying this is communism. This is not free markets working the way they have worked for centuries. And I don't know how you can support this. I understand. Again, there's lots of Democrats that just see a D, lots of independents and who don't like Trump, but you want this for your federal government? You want Washington determining the price of groceries? Just insane. But it's not the most insane proposal. We'll get to her idea on how to solve the housing crisis, which is just as stupid as her idea to control the price of groceries. And she's going to explain to you what she will do if, a company, say a pharmaceutical, doesn't cooperate with her plan. It is chilling. This person is so far from competent and smart. It is scary. And speaking of scary, Don Lemon hit the streets. He went to Atlantic City hoping to find some Biden voters. Some Harris voters. It didn't go quite the way Don Lemon planned. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
As if controlling the price of groceries by the federal government wasn't stupid enough, Kamala Harris said some other ideas. In her first big rollout, by the way, this is it. Other than stealing Trump's idea for no taxes on tips and stealing J.D. Vance's idea for an increased child tax credit, she says, I know how to fix the housing crisis. First of all, she says, we're going to build 3 million new homes. A woman who has no idea what that entails. An administration that spent $8 billion to build electric chargers. I think they've built 7. They can't build. They can't create. She says we're going to solve the housing crisis by giving new home buyers $25,000. Each just giving them $25,000, which means one thing: the price of homes will go up $25,000. That's how it would work. And she never explains like how you pay for it. Just like with the student loan bailout, they don't explain how you pay for it. We just give you money and maybe you'll vote for us. That's the platform of this campaign, Harris Walz campaign. We will, if you vote for us, we will give you money. It doesn't matter what happens to the market. It doesn't solve the crisis, but it gets them votes. Simple as that. And then she has an idea. What if companies don't cooperate when you tell them you're going to set the price of their product from Washington, from the White House? Do we have this clip on patents? Because it is chilling. This is when she was running 4 years ago, when she failed miserably, when she didn't even make it to the first primary because voters, Democrat voters, hated her. Nobody supported her. She was in on the debates. It didn't go well. Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her. She called Biden a racist and a sexist. And then she dropped out because she didn't get any traction, because she is not smart, because she's a radical left-wing San Francisco extremist. But here's her idea. If pharmaceuticals, big pharma, if they don't cooperate and, set the prices the way she wants from Washington, listen to this.
I will snatch their patent so that we will take over. And yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. It's the question is, do you have the will to do it? I have the will to do it.
Yes, we will do that. We will snatch their patents. That is frightening. Everything she says to me is scary. Again, sometimes you hear radical lefties and you worry because they're smart. They're smart radical lefties. Bernie Sanders isn't a moron. She's not smart. And it's like, it sounds good to her. Yes, if they don't cooperate with me, I will snatch their patents. The federal government will say, we're taking your patent if you don't cooperate with us. And she looks, and even the audience is like, what? Yes, we can do that. Yes, we can. We just have the willing to do it, and we can do it. Man, you are a scary, scary woman. And of course, Trump pounced. Trump Vance, the Trump war room, pounced, seized on the idiocy over the weekend and produced a number of ads which are effective. But one, the best ad ever, is 14 seconds long. This is just genius. It's simple, because what Kamala Harris was saying essentially all weekend, when she made the speech, when she did a brief interview, was Biden-Harris has failed. Clearly, obviously, we know Biden-Harris has failed. They have failed to control inflation. They have opened the border. Crime is out of control. Pointless wars all over the place. She is literally running a campaign against herself. She's saying on day one of her administration, things will be different. We'll no longer have the problems we have in this country under, who is that again? Oh, Biden-Harris. That's right. Under Biden-Harris, things aren't good. And Harris is promising to solve them. So she has to admit the problem before she proposes her solution. And the problem is her and Joe Biden. That's the problem. So that's essentially the message. We have failed and we will fix it. I'm not sure how that works with anybody. I'm not sure how that resonates with anyone. They have a big problem on their hands. They have to run against themselves. Listen to this 14-second ad from Trump. Go ahead.
A loaf of bread cost 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
That is awesome. That is perfect. Trump has to do this now. I know he's not disciplined. I know he's he does he does feel like he has to go on the attack, personal attacks, because they've tried to put him in prison. Hell, they're going to try to put him in prison in September. And I understand that's his makeup. That's what he's going to do. But he has to win this on policy. She just gave him a gift. She just gave him a huge opening. There is nothing she's proposing that will fix the problem. She is not a serious person. She's not a serious candidate. She can't explain to you how she's going to beat inflation. She can't explain to you how she's going to beat the housing crisis. She's incapable. She will read a teleprompter Thursday night. Everyone will cheer and everyone will laugh and say, "Oh, it was so joyful. We had so much joy in the room." And then he has to say, "Okay, she wants price controls. She wants to steal $25,000 from you and give it to first-time home buyers to drive the price of homes up." That's what she proposes. Vance can do it. He's good at it. Trump is not so good at it, but he has to try. He's out there every day. He's making speeches. He's holding rallies. Just do it. Bullet points, Donald. Bullet points. Here's what she wants to do. Here's what she is. She's a crazy left-wing radical who's not smart enough to articulate her plan. And I think there are already cracks. There are already cracks in the dam, because if you're an honest member of the media, you have to admit her plan is idiotic. Her plan is full, and it will solve nothing. That's what he has to do. Stick to that. Stick to price gauging. Donald, can you do that? Just stick to price gauging and stick to just the phoniness, the awkwardness of Kamala Harris. She spoke to a football team over the weekend. And I'm telling you, now this is why they hid her for a month. You want to know why they hid her? Because she came out of hiding over the weekend. And it was just one embarrassment after another, beginning with the speech on Friday, the Doritos, the search for Doritos at Sheetz, and this, speaking to a high school football team in Pennsylvania. Listen to this.
And by doing that, and all that requires, which is the hard work, the practice, working as a team, knowing that you will be undefeated even if you don't win every game, but no circumstance or event or moment will defeat your spirit.
Oh, God, I mean, you just can't. You couldn't create a cringier character. She's standing with her husband and I guess some other coaches, and you'll be undefeated even if you don't win every game. What does that even mean? What does that mean? These people are scary. All right, this duo, Harris and Walz, are scary, and that should be the message from Trump Vance. But I guess everyone around her is scary. The people advising her, the people telling her what to say, the people writing these scripts, they're scary. These are people who are so far out the mainstream, who are just so extreme. If you want to work for the Kamala Harris campaign, apparently they're still hiring. You know, there's great joy, and so they want people. They want to bring some fellow travelers on board. Someone has to explain this to me. This is a job application to work for Harris for president, and here's what they ask you. This is the second thing. First thing is full name. Second thing is pronouns. And here are your choices if you want to work for the next president. He, him, I get that one. She, her, they, them. I get those. Can someone explain to me these? XE or XEM? Is that XE or XM? Z, her.
Zay, Zem?
Zay, Zem. But the next one says Zay, her. The next one says I am, EYEM. Her, her.
Her.
Her, her. Here's another one. Fae, fair. So your pronouns are FAE or FAER.
Yeah.
Fae, fur.
And the last one is just if Howard Stern applies.
Who. So it's the same. HU or HU. Those are your two pronouns. Shouldn't the question be, could you, if you check off Who? Shouldn't the next question be, what the hell does that mean? Why would you call someone who? Yes, my pronouns are who. Okay, what the hell does that mean? Why? What are you? And I guess you have to check one. Do you think if you check he, her, or she, her, he, him, or she, her, do you think you're disqualified? You're not crazy enough to work for these wackos. That is just who. Okay, anybody know what that is? Yes, Buzzsaw on the chat line says I don't know if it's he, says he's a hoo guy. Who? Okay, what's a hoo guy, Buzzsaw? What is a hoo? What is that? What these people? I'm telling you, I think this every day. We've had plenty of Democrats. Well, obviously, in my lifetime, run for president, hold office. Hell, I'm in Boston right now. I have Liz Warren and Ayanna Pressley representing me. We have crazy, radical, left-wing lunatics. We've never had anyone this crazy. We've never had anybody this so far outside the mainstream. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are communists. They hate this country. They want to fundamentally transform this country. And I guess the reason I'm not completely frightened at the idea is they're not smart enough. They're like dumb kids in college, dumb kids at some left-wing school who are just buying into all this nonsense. They have no real world experience. Neither of them's ever held a job in the private. Oh, I'm sorry. Kamala made McFlurries at McDonald's 40 years ago. Tim Walz thinks that's a big qualification for president because he said Donald Trump could never operate a McFlurry machine, but Kamala Harris, we have no evidence she actually worked at McDonald's. But he wants you to think that's real world, private sector experience making McFlurries. All right, what do we got from Kamala in Pennsylvania yesterday?
This is her latest word salad.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. I'm telling you. She's going to have to, after the convention, she's going to have to go back into hiding. She can't do this. I know I said that for 3 years, that Biden couldn't campaign. He couldn't give speeches. He couldn't make appearances, and he couldn't. He was a disaster, which is why we now have her. But she is so bad at this. It's amazing that she is a candidate for one of the two major parties, and she's leading in some polls. Listen to this appearance over the weekend.
And that's what our election is about. Our election is about understanding the importance of this beautiful country of ours in terms of what we stand for around the globe as a democracy. As a democracy, we know there's a duality to the nature of democracy. On the one hand, incredible strength when it is intact, what it does for its people to protect and defend their rights, their liberty, and their freedom. Incredibly strong and incredibly fragile.
Where do you begin? First of all, we're not a democracy. Secondly, it's not incredibly fragile. Thirdly, could you explain what you mean by that? Kamala, just fill us in. What do you mean by fragile? What could happen? How could we lose our democracy? Could you explain that, please, ma'am? You're the nominee for the office of the president. Could you just help us out? What do you mean, threat to democracy? What's going to happen? How do we lose our democracy? We really need to know.
People get nominated without an election.
Oh, that could be it. I don't think they hold that card anymore. I don't think she can go all in on the threat to democracy thing Thursday night, or any of the speakers can, when their nominee received 0 votes and won 0 primaries. And when she did run on her own, was a disaster. I'm not sure it's going to work anymore. And I understand the strategy. It works with low IQ, low information voters. It's like Tim Walz saying J.D. Vance is weird. That was a preemptive strike because they know how weird Tampon Tim is. They know what a radical he is. And then when he did the whole mind your own business thing, that was, again, a preemptive strike because this guy is a control freak who locked people in their houses and put people in jail, who tried to earn a living during COVID. This is a guy who wants to take children away from their parents if their parents don't affirm their delusions about their gender. That guy doesn't mind his own business ever. He's the opposite, but it was preemptive so that he wanted to seem like J.D. Vance and Trump were the ones who are meddling in people's lives. Oh, you got to get this for me, Ironhead. Get this commercial. It is you think. I think Trump's commercials, I think his ads have been good. I think lately they've been focused. They've been effective. There's an ad that the Democrats are running that is so absurd and silly to be just comical, just laugh out loud funny. We'll get to that. And Don Lemon, we'll get to Don Lemon in Atlantic City, getting a rude awakening when he was looking for Trump haters. He failed. And Dan Orlovsky from ESPN is the coward of the week here. Dan Orlovsky wants you to know that ESPN does not believe in protecting girls, does not believe in protecting our daughters. We'll explain that and more. But first,
excuse me.
I'm sending you this ad from Democrats. It's a Blaze story. Just go find the ad in that video. But first, I want to do the Don Lemon thing first because it's hysterical. Don Lemon, I wasn't even sure his show still existed since Elon Musk fired him after one day. And Don Lemon, who was, I guess, an effective teleprompter reader for years at CNN, is now he's trying to make it on his own, and it's just not working. And he wants to be, man on the street. And he goes to Atlantic City to try to talk to people, on behalf of Harris. That's why he's out there. He wants to help Kamala Harris win the White House. So he goes out there to talk to people on, who they prefer as president in the upcoming election. It didn't quite go the way Donnie had hoped. Watch this.
Here in Jersey, Atlantic City. Who do you support?
I'll plead the fifth.
Trump for the win.
Tell me why.
I can't really call that right now, but I just feel like she's not good for president. She's good vice, but not for the actual lead role for the country.
Does it have anything to do with being a woman?
No. No, because I feel like women, nah, you're not going to give me that.
Your money's on Harris.
Yeah.
Who do you want?
Trump.
Why don't you like Harris?
Oh, she don't have any experience.
She's the vice president. She's a senator.
Yeah, no experience. She has no experience.
Well, I want Donald Trump. I just feel we need somebody that has a stronger background with the military and the world in general.
She was a prosecutor and attorney general, and a senator, and vice president. If you're in a gambling town, who's your money on?
I'm going to support the Democratic Party, but, Trump looks like he got it in the bag right now.
4 years ago, it was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy is actually better under Biden. No, I'm serious.
Okay, you know what?
No, that's not because.
That is so good. The guy says, I made a lot more money on Donald Trump. And he says, well, that's not what the record shows. The record shows? What record? The guy just wants to say the economy's better, but he makes it about him. And I made a lot more money. And Lemon tries to argue with him. And the guy just laughs in his face. Said, did you watch CNN? These men on the streets, they never go the way Democrats and the media want them to, because their base can't articulate. They can't explain why they support Harris. What are they going to say? Yeah, we want price controls. We want, third trimester abortion. What are they going to say? They can't. So he'll go out there and do his best to debate them, but he's not. He can't. He doesn't have the ability, as we know from years of watching Don Lemon. All right, before we get to Dan Orlovsky, do we have that ad from Democrats? Ironhead, this is just This is.
There's 3 in that video. Which one did you want?
I want the one about the old guy in the bedroom with the couple. This is an actual ad from Democrats, and their point is that Republicans want to ban contraceptives. Now, I don't even know where this came from. I've never heard a Republican in my life say they want to ban contraception. I understand that abortion's their big issue, and they're going to hammer away at it, and they want abortion in the 4th trimester, and that's their thing. But they're actually spending ad money. They're spending donors' money trying to make the case that Republicans want to ban condoms. And maybe I should Google it. Maybe I will. I've never heard anyone, forget it, like Trump or Vance. I've never heard anybody say they want to ban condoms. And you have lots of, way to go with this, to lots of strategy to make ads and try to convince people. Why would you spend your money telling people Republicans want to ban? I know you think your voters are stupid, and lots of them are. But is anyone going to say, you know what? I think I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris because Republicans want to ban condoms? Where does this come from? Watch this.
Sorry, you can't use those.
What are you talking about?
Condoms.
Who are you?
I'm your Republican congressman. Now that we're in charge, we're banning birth control.
This is our decision, not yours. Get out of our bedroom.
I won the last election. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to watch and make sure you don't do anything illegal.
Keep Republicans out of your bedroom.
What is that about? Honestly, that's just insane. Keep Republicans out of your bedroom because they want to take away your condom. I don't even know what to say about that. That's just so stupid. Go with that, Democrats. Spend your money on that. Yeah, that's going to win you a lot of votes. Everyone's worried. Republicans are come in my bedroom and take my condoms. Oh, man, this is just getting absurd. This election season. We had 77 days to go, Ironhead. It's just going to get crazier and crazier. Speaking of crazy, we've told you many times that ESPN is the world headquarters for woke. There is nothing, no place more woke. Anybody to the right of Tim Walz has been booted out the door. Anybody. They got rid of Sage Steele, who was great at her job because she wouldn't denounce her white mother. She said she was mixed race. She didn't consider herself black, and they couldn't stand that. They got rid of Sam Ponder over the weekend because Sam Ponder doesn't want men in women's locker rooms. She doesn't want men beating up women in Olympic boxing. Can't have that. Can't have that at ESPN. This is just incredible. Dan Orlovsky, NFL analyst, former UConn quarterback, former NFL journeyman, pretty good at the job, I would say, pretty good NFL analyst, tweeted this on August 1st. Protect our daughters. That's it. Protect our daughters. Now, he did this while watching, what's the guy's name again? Emain Khalif from Algeria, the man who won the gold in women's boxing, who beat the shit out of 4 or 5 women on camera. It was disgusting. Any decent person is against that. He doesn't even say, keep this bum out of the women's boxing or shame on Emain Khalif. He just says, protect our daughters. I would say that's pretty benign. Don't we all want to protect our daughters? Well, not the brain trust at ESPN. He was forced to delete this. Maybe they threatened him with his job and he deleted it. And here's his explanation. He says, when you're an employee of a big company, your social media page doesn't just get to be your social media page. That's a fantasy. So you have to represent yourself and the company you work for in the proper way. What? So saying protect your daughters is not representing your company in the proper way? And again, he's trying to save his job. And I guess the story is, if he didn't delete this, he was going to lose his job. That's the question. If he didn't delete protect your daughters, they were going to get rid of Dan Orlovsky like they got rid of Sam Ponder and Sage Steele. Really? Is that how far gone ESPN is? I mean, this is shameful for Orlovsky, but he's not the story. It's ESPN. ESPN is against protecting our daughters. They're all in favor of men in women's boxing, men in the women's swimming or women's track, beating women. And again, that's like 80% of the public is against that as well. They should be, but not ESPN. You can't have that opinion. And as Bobby Burke explains on Outkick, he's really good at this. You know, ESPN's a sports network. That's what we're told, right? They don't do politics. That's what we're told when people like Orlovsky or Sage Steele offer an opinion. Can't have those kind of political, those divisive opinions. Well, here's just a few ESPN people who are still in good standing with their employer. Here's some of the things we've heard from other ESPN employees who aren't interested in protecting daughters. Mark Jones, the play-by-play guy, he tweeted out that MAGA women are skanks, that Governor Ron DeSantis is a member of the KKK. He called Stephen A. Smith a coon, and he said Abraham Lincoln was a racist. He also said that he didn't want a police escort to the games that he called because one of the cops might shoot him because he's black. That's cool. No problem. No deleting those tweets. No, walking that back. That's fine. Mina Kimes, another left-wing radical and a co-analyst with Orlovsky on NFL Live, used her media account to encourage voters to support Karen Bass for mayor of LA. Karen Bass, who's to the left of Tim Walz, just a flat-out socialist. So that was cool. You could support Karen Bass. J.A. Adande, this radical lunatic who's on whatever it's called, Around the Horn, he said red state voting laws were worse than genocide in China. And Kendrick Perkins went on a Twitter rant calling white people privileged and accusing his employer of punishing him for having strong opinions as a black man. So all those opinions, all those tweets are cool, but protect our daughters is a bridge too far. And Orlovsky is still employed, but that tweet and by the way, deleting the tweet doesn't serve the purpose of eliminating it. There it is. We're looking at it on the screen. It was saved by many people who were embarrassed and ashamed for Orlovsky for deleting it. Incredible. ESPN is gone. There. I mean, I still watch when the Masters is on. I'll still watch NFL games. I'll still watch the Manning brothers. I'm not ready to boycott because, it would be hard to do. Ooh, breaking news from Jack Posobiec. Joe Biden and Jill Biden will not be attending Kamala Harris's nomination speech and plan to leave the DNC after his farewell address tonight. So Joe Biden's going to speak on Monday night, where they usually put the scrubs. And Jill Biden is too, by the way. And we're going to hear these cheers and these chants, and it's going to be so phony. And then he's going to get in Air Force One and go back to D.C. or go to the beach. And the last 77 days, more than that, he's president until January, are going to be the lamest of the lamest. He's going to be the lamest lame duck we've ever seen. We are going to see an effort to make it appear as if Kamala Harris is the president and Joe Biden is a former president who's done and gone and yesterday's news. And tonight, I'm just expecting. Do we have a preview of Joe Biden tonight, Ironhead, before we go here? I know we get a lot, but Joe Biden tonight is going to be uncomfortable because everybody.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put over $1.2 billion. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. Let me start off with two words. Made in America.
Oh, we're going to miss him. We are going to miss him. He was always good for a laugh. And I assume tonight will be no different. He'll be obviously reading the teleprompter, and they'll be cheering every line and pretending, he's beloved a month after their unprecedented coup It is going to just be comical. And the only question now is how many of the Antifa scum and the pro-Hamas crowd, how many of them infiltrate the building and will be disrupting the speeches, because that's the goal. They're going to try to one-up each other. And again, there's 270 groups, and it's going to be a competition. Who can be the most disruptive, the most criminal? They're going to be vandalizing, burning, fighting with cops. And if you just stand back and, hold a sign, you're weak. You're a wimp. The goal is going to be who can be the most radical, the most disruptive, and I am looking forward to it. That begins tonight.
Dude.
Begins tonight with this corpse taking the stage, and I'm looking forward to many, many gaffes and bumbles and stumbles. So
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Yes, he's going to do that tonight. Looking forward. True international. It's going to be fun, but we'll be here for it. We'll have all the highlights tomorrow, I promise. But that will do it for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Ironhead. I'm Jerry Callahan.